Hello everyone, welcome to CG Live. I'm so excited for our conversation today with me and Pastor Tim and the simple power of an invitation. It can be scary, but it also can be so good. But before we get to that, a couple things to let you know about. One is we just finished up the gala, and man, it was so much fun. So first, thank you to all who, made it come together, and then all of those who have participated. We did reach the goal of 150,000, and so that's so incredible and amazing. And also, coming up, Holy Week is right around the corner, and so on April 13th, join us for Palm Sunday at the Gilbert campus. All of our services, Palm Branches, is going to be beautiful and amazing. Or join us in East Mesa at the Cadence Community Center at 10 a.m. for Palm Sunday in the park. Following that, an Easter egg hunt. So parents, you're going to want to bring your kiddos to that, plus a free lunch. So Easter egg hunt and free lunch. You're not going to want to miss it. Last, make sure you check out our Easter landing page for all the details. Please RSVP for services so we get a good handle on who's going to be there, so we have everything we need to welcome you and all the great people you're going to invite. And that, I guess, should be the last thing. These past couple Sundays, you've received an Easter invite. Think about who you're going to share that with. And then this week, share it. Take that step. Be bold and invite them to hear the good news of Easter, what Jesus has done for us and for the people in your life. Get ready for our CG Live conversation.
Welcome to CG Live. Tim Allman here with Pastor Michael Hayden. It's a great day to be alive. Today, it's the power of the invitation. Can you share a story, Michael, in your journey where someone invited you to something, and unless they invited you to something, obviously you're not going to go where you're uninvited. So the power of the invitation, like I was an outsider, and then I became an insider.
I think of a lot, like one of them that comes to my mind wasn't necessarily like to a particular place, but to like an activity. We had a vicar named Mark Dewar. He's currently in Michigan, and his invitation was like to come play a board game with him. Oh. And I was like, all right. I took him up on the invitation.
What board game?
Well, it's called Dominion. It's like a card game. Anyways, because he was a single guy and he was a vicar, and I was technically he was under my purview, and so I went, and it was like way more fun than I anticipated. And so, now I love to play. Like, we'll get games for our kids to play and stuff. So that was an invitation I didn't want to say yes to, but then you get.
And you were pleasantly surprised.
I was pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised about how much fun it actually was. Yeah.
For me, it's I've been a part of this pastor golf group called Oasis that goes back about 40 years in the Missouri Synod, and got invited by some pastors I really had looked up to, and got to be a part of that for like 5 years. The first one I was there, it was like the who's who of like 2 generations ago of pastors who were all in their like 70s and 80s, and I'd heard my dad talking about these guys way back in the day, and so to get to play golf with a number of them was very cool. Jerry Kieschnick, John Kieschnick, being, not to name drop or whatever, but the Kieschnick guys, Texas boys were there, and that was like, where am I? This is wild. Hearing all these stories from yesteryear, and then now getting to be a part of kind of passing the torch and making invitations, because Zach Zender and I, Red Letter Challenge, shout out to Zach and Red Letter, we get to partner as. They call us now. There's 20 pastors now in this group meeting every spring, and we do a Ryder Cup. So there's a draft. There's 10 different guys on one team, 10 on the other team, and just to be quite honest, it's not very inviting. The rhetoric between teams gets
real competitive.
There's a text change right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, 80 text change from guys just bringing it at one another, all in good brotherly
love.
Yeah. We really think today's a great day for building an invite culture in our church. Why do we think, Michael, that this is an awesome time for us to focus on invite?
Well, I think so many people Barner just put out a study. So many people are open to like spiritual conversations and experiences. And so what better place than to experience the good news of the gospel, and the most effective way for somebody to like take that next step is a personal invitation, which makes sense. If you think of anything, if you like recommended a restaurant to go to because you recommended it, I probably wouldn't go. I'm just kidding. I would go, right? Because like I know you, and and I trust you. And so the same is true with, church. If somebody knows you and they trust you, and then you invite them and go with them, because showing up at a church campus can be really scary. It breaks down so many barriers. And I think for a lot of people is they may not consciously know, but their deep prayer, like this is what their heart and soul is crying out for. Yeah. And you get to be an answer to that prayer by simply saying, hey, why don't you come with me to church?
And I want to meet new people, like, unless you're a remarkable introvert, like there's an openness. I'd like my social circles to expand. So you bring someone here and then you introduce them to 3 or 4 of your friends, and immediately kind of community starts. Oh, if I were to come back without my friend, I know a handful of others too. Man, wasn't Betty and Cindy's story amazing?
It was so good.
What was so astounding as you just think back on it? We saw it just a few days ago now.
Well, so Cindy, Debbie, I got to be here when they were like
recording it. Uh-huh.
And shout out to them. One take
wonder, baby. There we go.
I mean, I just recorded something with Ellie. It took like 2 or 3. And so like it was incredible. But just to hear their story and interaction and like how beautiful yet simple it was. It wasn't like, it wasn't complicated. It wasn't, it was just Cindy simply seeing an opportunity, inviting her. And then what the Lord's done, like, for Debbie through that simple invitation and the way she's kind of digging in at Christ Greenfield, it blows me away.
It is unbelievable. But what, and I may have said Betty, is it Debbie?
Debbie,
I misspoke, so sorry about that, Debbie. Nonetheless, with Debbie, it was Cindy having her eyes up at the grocery store.
Right.
Just out in the community.
Yeah.
And how do you start? Like, it's so weird today to even think about starting a conversation with someone at a Fry's, for instance, or a Sprouts. Like, you're just walking around and something within Cindy, like, oh, there's a lady that hey, can I don't know how she even started that.
Well, I think she recognized her from, they live in the same park.
Okay. So there was a little bit of
there was already a connection.
She wasn't a stranger per se.
Nah, not like a random stranger. Be like, hey, you look like you need to go to church.
Because if you came up to me, I'd be like, I don't know about that. I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about Jesus. Jesus, I think a lot of times we think of him coming to Peter, James, and John. They're fishing and stuff. And we think, well, was Jesus a stranger to those guys? We don't know a lot of the pre-story.
Correct.
But I have to believe, like, Jesus is an up-and-coming Jewish maybe leader in the community.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like a weird interaction at a grocery store. It was like, oh, we could end up following. We've heard amazing things. Maybe even they've heard through the grapevine. I mean, a much smaller community than I think we often think about here in the East Valley of Phoenix, right? They'd heard through the grapevine. There's one coming to prepare the way. He's just like inaugurated this new rabbi's ministry through baptism in the Jordan River. Kind of crazy. So I think there's some sort of a yearning to be invited. And Jesus makes that invitation. They immediately drop their nets and follow after him.
Yeah, and to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And so I'm sure they already kind of knew of Jesus, and he kind of turned everything on its head. Usually, students would have to apply to follow a rabbi, where here Jesus is like approaching them. And two, just how simple the invitation is. He doesn't try to like convince them or anything. He's just like, hey,
come follow me.
You want to come follow me?
Yeah.
And that was it. Like Cindy, hey, just want to come to church with me?
Yeah. It wasn't rocket science. And we don't even know, like, based on those, what were their first interactions? I like how The Chosen is so, now obviously they got to read between the lines a little bit and use their imagination. And some people are like, I don't know if you should do that. But I think it's fine. It's like, they probably just started talking about their lives, Mm-hmm. Oh, where are you from? Oh, yeah, you come from Nazareth? Yeah, I've heard tell me about Nazareth. And then vice versa in their community there outside Jerusalem. So, or in Galilee there. So, I don't think Jesus is like always super like heady theological, like we got to go deep all the time. I think Jesus was good at small talk too. Thoughts there?
Oh, yeah. I imagine, we often paint him as pretty stoic.
Yeah.
But I think he was very, obviously, like very relational and relatable and approachable. Just think about all the people that were willing to like approach him.
Yeah.
Not only his disciples, but like, the woman with the health issue for like 12 years, all the people come up like, hey, can you just help me? There's something about Jesus that made him approachable and likable, even to the point where you go, hey, why don't you come follow me? And people are like, yeah, I'll do that.
I was reading, it's right before the entrance into Jerusalem, and the man who's been blind, I think, since birth, and he's just yelling at Jesus like over and over again.
Yeah.
And the disciples are like, this guy is annoying. And then he comes over, what do you want? It's like very evident. He's like, well, I want to see. Okay, your faith has made you well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And off he goes and being able to see. But people were annoying to Jesus. And sometimes you even think of the lady, remember the lady who keeps coming after him, and then she makes that declaration of faith. Even the dogs eat the bread that fall from their master's table.
Yeah,
like,
he's blown away
what do you
by
want
it.
with me? She was a Gentile kind of outsider woman. Didn't I come for the Jews? And so Jesus is very human, but Jesus will be interrupted, and Jesus has patience.
Yeah, extraordinary patience. Yeah. Well, what I love is like the crowd's trying to quiet him down, and like a little kid, he just yells louder.
Yeah, it is just like a little kid. You want to tell me to be quiet?
Jesus is like, hey man, what do you need?
His persistence. It won the day. So we should be persistent heading into Easter. Why is Easter, Michael, a great opportunity to invite people to church?
Man, it is like the pinnacle of the good news of the gospel, of our hope. Like, this is why Jesus showed up, was the cross, but ultimately the empty tomb, which affirmed all of his work and payment on the cross. And man, just the new life, the renewal, the restoration that he holds out through it. Like, who doesn't need that type of like good news and hope? And it's for everybody. And so that's why like this, like our faith, this is it, guys. Easter is the best.
100% the best. If Christ has not been raised from the dead, your faith is futile. You're still in your sins. But in fact, Christ has been raised from the dead, the first fruits of those who have fallen asleep in him. So it is a Super Bowl of the church year.
Yeah.
It is why we exist. If you can't preach, Michael, we'll be preaching a little bit. If you can't preach on Easter, I don't know when you
were in the wrong business.
When you can preach, because it is the pinnacle point. And then we're coming out of that with a series called Resurrection Power. And we really would love, maybe Easter is a great time to come for the first time, but then to keep coming. We've got a number of folks that have come over March, and they just keep coming week after week.
Yeah,
I've been noticing I got 4 couples in mind right now, 4 families, younger families. And they came 3 to 4 weeks ago, and they've been back every single week. Isn't that cool?
That's amazing.
It's the power of invitation.
Yep.
If someone's struggling on, like, what do I do? How does this happen? What words of wisdom would you give regarding, like, the nuts and bolts of making an invitation to church?
Yeah, that's it. Well, keep it simple.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, you already have the cards, but just extend the invitation and just couch it in terms of like, would you like to come to church with me? Mm-hmm. Like go with them so you can show them where to go. Kind of like, because like I said, your presence alone will take down a lot of barriers for them. And also be prepared if they say no, that's okay.
That's right.
And, but you're beginning to like plant the seeds. And so, because too, I think a lot of people are afraid. We're just afraid of rejection, which it could happen, but that doesn't end your relationship with that person.
Nope.
If they say no, because later down the road they may say yes. But I would just keep it simple. Say, hey, would you like to join me for church? We're going on Easter at this time, or if there's a better time for you, we'll go together. It'll be amazing. There's music is so great. Like whatever you kind of want to say, but I would just keep it simple. Yeah. What would you say?
I would agree, and I have made the invitation. The hard thing for me is we're busy we're full all of Easter. And so, like, meet my wife or meet so-and-so here. Like, I want to make another connection. And that's one of the preacher's dilemmas in inviting people from their block. Because I'm going around the block. I want to invite pretty much everyone on the block. And I got Muslim, Mormon, but they're welcome to come. So,
yeah, that is true. It's hard. Yeah. But you'll see me there. I'll be running around.
I'm not going to be able to sit with you. Sorry about that. But nonetheless, this is why we exist. Michael and I exist to equip you. Hopefully, this was an equipping conversation for an invitation to people who are, I think of Jesus' words, like sheep without a shepherd, listening to various voices in our world and need to hear the good shepherd, the one who is the crucified, risen, and reigning one, Jesus, who wants to start a relationship with them and invite that individual, that family, into a relationship with his body, the church. It's a good day. Go and make it a great day. Thanks for joining us on CG Live. Thanks, Michael. Good work, dude.
Go.